Hello, this is Ashy. Today I have Wah.
Hello.
I also have Dez.
I live here now.
Yes, you do.
The cleric misery really has kicked in, huh?
Yeah.
It's Cleric o'clock, bitches.
But it's okay, because we're going to review a brick.
There may or may not be a brick on this list. I'm sure you already see it. Yes, you do. Anyways, previously we covered some mundane items and some traits. Today we want to finish Cleric off strong with some magic items for their kit, and possibly some boons that we mentioned before. So kicking this off, Ring of Protected Life. It's a ring slot item, obviously. It costs 9,000 GP, does a few things. First, increases channel energy radius by 5 feet. That's good.
That's cute.
Okay.
Second, it allows you one more exemption if you have the selective channeling feat, so that's not bad. You're probably taking that feat anyways. And third, it can once per day channel a swift action, which turns off the other effects for the next 24 hours, but it's not a really terrible ability either.
Yeah,
Did
I mean,
Did it really need to be able... Did it really need to disable all the other abilities if you use this feature? That just seems like an odd...
It's
I suppose it keeps the price down.
yeah, it's only a 9 grand item, so it kind of feels like...
it's
I mean,
kind
to
of
be
cheap for a
fair,
ring.
if you really need to slap that Swift channel, then I'm feeling like you're probably either taking a round where you're double channeling, or you're, like, doing a Swift channel and you absolutely need to get whatever spell you decided to poop out that turn going.
And like a swift action channel, if you need to drop it, can be a valuable thing.
That's all of what you said has got absolutely nothing to do with what I said.
Yeah.
I think it does.
No, none of those things are... I
It keeps
disagree.
price down. It's fairly cheap for what it is.
Okay, you can keep the price
And it's
down.
got
There
a
we go.
it's got a powerful effect once per day if you really need it. Beyond that, it's like the other effects are also just very nice to have. Like I honestly think that first ability by itself might be worth a price tag. Just going from 30 to 35 feet on your channel.
Maybe it does really modify your positioning in a...
Yeah. And
Like-
the extra selective channel can be nice if you have a particularly large group.
True.
Not a large group, a large enemy group that you're fighting.
Sure. Good item. Don't like that last clause simply because it disables the rest of the ring, but okay, fair enough.
Hey, let's laugh at the fact that it specifies that you can swift channel without provoking attacks of opportunity, even though channel does not provoke attacks of opportunity.
That is true. Like I was gonna bring that up, but I thought that was kind of a funky thing in it as well.
Is there any channel things that you can... Are there any channeling things that you can do that will provoke an attack of opportunity?
I think so. Like some channels actually are a cast instead of a channel.
I meant more like the channeled smite, channeled whatever. Is there if there's any of
For the
those
most part,
that's-
no. For the most part, channels and channeling feats and things that channel just do not.
I'm sure there's a niche use for protecting you for some being slapped, but... whatever.
Eh, maybe.
Cool.
And I think it's worth noting, if that channel is the last channel of the day, as a swift action, then it doesn't matter if the rest of the ring's turned off.
Okay, but once you get to the mid to upper levels, it's really hard to run out of channels. You get quite a lot of them. Jack doesn't run out.
Yes.
Jack also has so much to do that he doesn't get a chance to channel very often unless it's before or after a fight.
Well, now I can
Yes.
swift channel as many times as I fucking want. Thanks,
Yes. Yes. So, we'll move on to this not quite as great item, Glorious Flame Ring.
Sounds better.
It's got a great name. So what it does is once per day you can create a 5-foot radius burst of 1d6 fire damage.
Ooh.
So,
Fire.
yeah, you can pop 1d6 fire damage in a 5-foot radius burst. And if you have
They
channel
could-
energy, you can use channel energy to do that effect again. And if you have selective channeling, you can make sure enemies aren't hit by your 1d6 fire damage if they happen to be 5 feet from you. There's no scaling to the item. The DC will quickly get outscaled. I think the ring's anything but glorious. It does cost 5,400.
This feels like a random loot ring that you find in a, a jewelry box, and this just happens to be in it, and it's a bit of money.
I agree with that sentiment.
It just feels like just a random magic item that you never choose, but you might end up with it.
So, Des, you were trying to say something?
This wouldn't even be that good if it's scaled with your channel.
Scaling with channel, I think, would make it okay. It's still too short range.
No, because channeling negative energy just better, because this is fire damage, the most resisted element in the game.
Yeah, also, because the DC is so low.
And let's not forget, it turns you into the babiest of all fireballs.
It does.
I was wondering if this could potentially have literally any use with, like, say, the 10-ring sword. Or that belt that lets you shove a bunch of rings on it. But no. No, it don't.
If for some strange reason in your entire cleric and party repertoire you do not have fire, and you just happened to find this ring and need to put down a troll.
You don't also have acid.
And you don't have a torch.
Maybe in this earliest of early game, you don't have a torch and you really need to slap a swarm.
Like,
yeah,
if you like, if you're so early game where this is basically a boon. Well, at 5400, if it's dropping like level 1 or level 2, that's a bit early. I guess level 4 it might still have some value.
Wait, they made it once per day?
Yes.
They felt this was so powerful it had to be a once per day effect?
Yes.
Like, this wouldn't even be good if it was unlimited uses per day.
I don't know why this object exists.
And look at that description, making it seem like Sarenites completely suck. They prize the glorious flame rings.
Yeah.
I mean, from a religious standpoint, they could prize the glorious flame ring, but as a religious symbol. Like,
yeah,
you've got a lot of value in a silver holy symbol. Like, they hold a lot of weight and respect, but they don't really do anything.
Yeah.
But all that aside, mechanically, it's shit.
It's mechanically bad. Maybe it has RP value.
Exactly. It's a family heirloom of a devout family of your Serenite, I don't know, cleric or something. It's really valuable, but would you sell it? Well, if it's valuable to you, no, and it does a thing. Like, this is the issue. You could give it to a level 1, 2, 3 party, and it might have some niche use. But they could also just sell it and get a massive power boost. Like, the power on it is level 1 garbage. The value of it is probably 5 to 6 of loot, and it's like, there's a dissonance here.
Mm-hmm.
I have a bard that I plan on playing at one point, who is a Serenite.
You've got many characters you plan on playing.
Who has so many, like, wants to get their hands on so many Serenray things, and I don't think this is going to be on the list because it's not taking one of those precious ring slots.
You can keep it in your pocket. hang it off of your, like, Serenray coated whatever necklace or something. Like, have it sit next to your holy symbol.
I don't know.
Nothing.
Maybe you shouldn't, and just send Serenray a message. This item sucks. Give us better rings.
Yo, Serenray, buff your ring.
Buff your ring, bitch.
Okay. So let's stop bullying the glorious flame ring for all of its glory, and talk about another item that might actually be considered good.
Okay.
So Icon of Aspects costs 5,500 gold pieces, has no slot. What it does is it allows you to change a domain power you have for a different domain power until you change your spells again. It allows you to pick for spells on domains and ditch a poor domain power for an actually good one. The new domain power has to be from a domain your god has access to. I think it's pretty good.
That's not bad.
You just ditch a bad power for a good power.
Yeah, like if you have your good power on tap in case you run into something weak against it, but then you suddenly need to switch over to the healing power for some reason, it's just like, yeah, let's do it. And look, it's the same price as that ring.
Pretty close.
Yeah. I mean, looking at how this works, it's a 1-for-1 exchange.
Mhm.
So if you are at whatever, and there's some healing living in your deity somewhere, at the end game you could just have access to another mass heal. But you're a cleric, so you already have that. You're probably going to be picking something that isn't on the cleric list, but is in the deities.
This isn't spells, this is domain powers. So, if you had a healing
yeah,
god,
what am I talking about?
you could ditch, say, your Holy Lance from the good domain, and grab the healing power at 8th level.
Isn't that the one that raises the minimum you always heal?
It influences your healing. I think it just empowers your healing or something. I have to look at the domain power again.
I could have sworn that it rose your 1s to like 2s or something, but that could also be something in the shaman shit. Hard to tell.
We've been talking about too much cleric stuff that's all flowed together.
It has literally melted into my brain.
Yep. It's all there still. But yeah, for what it does, the fact that it's kind of cheap for an item, it doesn't occupy a slot, so it can sit in your backpack forever and just give you its boost. Good item.
Yeah.
Another item that's in a similar boat, the Pixies of Redirected Focus. So this one costs 1,000 gold pieces. It's weightless. It's slotless, which is already a really good start because it's cheap, and once you have it, it just sits there.
Do you know what I really like about this item?
The Pixies?
It is well, the idea of the pixie itself, the object.
Okay.
It's literally a Christian phylactery.
I did not know that was a Pixies was. That's interesting.
Well, you know what a phylactery is?
Yes.
It's a, yeah. I'm fairly sure they're Jewish.
There's plenty
a
of
phylactery is a reliquary box.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just a Christian equivalent of a phylactery.
That's cool.
This is the Jewish one.
So what this item actually does, once per day you can use it, and it allows you to swap one domain spell to another domain spell. So you basically can swap. You can once per day swap a domain spell from being like in use to grabbing the other domain spell of the same level.
I'm feeling like you should just slap the icon of aspects and this power, like slap them together on a holy symbol, and just make it your general god's holy symbol.
I am. Yeah, you just combine two items into just one incredibly versatile thing. I mean, hell, at that point you make it amazing. You just go beat shit to death with it. You could probably reliquary it up and do a bunch of things. Make it count as an altar. Do this. Just have the holiest of holy symbols in your hands.
I mean, you probably could, especially if it was
It'd be
Torag.
really goddamn funny.
And it was also a hammer.
It was also a hammer. You just pop the little hammerhead open with a hatch on the top and, I don't know, pull your holy smokes out.
Everything's a hammer if you swing it hard enough.
Everything's a hammer if you have Shikigami style.
Vulcan would be proud. You forget, brother. It's also a hammer.
God damn it.
But back to the Pixies. I think this is an okay item.
It's pretty good for 1,000 GP of versatility. Considering we were talking about the apologist, the fedora wearing cleric, and the sheer value that was like, oh yeah, you can do this and you get such a wide range of domain powers and domain spells or this and that you can pick from with it. Oh, this is just more versatility for an insignificant amount of money, so I think that just gives it inherently a lot of power, if you are creative enough to use it effectively.
You could hypothetically also just buy 9 of them, and once per day you can just hot swap all of your domain spells.
Yeah, sure.
If you really wanted to. That's a lot of pixies.
It's a lot of boxes, but it's okay.
They don't weigh anything, it's fine.
Yeah.
Alright, so the anointed holy symbol.
What, versus the unanointed one?
Yeah, versus the unanointed. Like, you gotta know that there's this very specific anointed holy symbol out there that costs 10,000 gold pieces that happens to be support for the variant channeling system. So
look, if it's worth 10 grand, it better be good.
So basically, it allows you to consume a dose of holy water to use either a variant channel or the standard channel. The variant channel that you're using must be one associated with your deity's portfolio. It takes a full round action to pour in holy water, at which point it'll just exist there for 3 days until it's consumed. It's otherwise a slotless item. So think of it this way: you can have your standard channel. You can have one anointed variant, one anointed holy symbol, and that anointed holy symbol just represents any variant channel from your deity's portfolio. Each use individually. And each use will consume a dose of holy water.
Is this another one of those where you just need to be wearing bandoliers full of these random objects?
Probably. But that gets pricey.
What else are you spending your money on? It's not a weapon.
I'm sure you can think of something.
Yeah, this shit.
Yeah, something in here maybe? I think it's actually still a pretty good item. Like, it's expensive, it's pricey, but like even if you're picking it up only late game, like let's say you have Desna or something, and Desna has the luck domain because Desna's lucky, but you're a cleric with a normal channel and you just want to channel luck domain. You're skipping basically a lot of the early grind of getting it good to just going, cool, I'm 15th level, here's a plus 4 to your things.
Yeah.
And it's not once per day, it's just once per holy water. You might be using it once per fight.
I am honestly sure there's a way to get around this. Probably involves either a cohort or a summoned creature that's just refilling the fuckers for you.
I mean, yeah, they can take a full round of action to refill it.
Your holy symbol, sir.
Hell yeah.
And you shall count to 3.
I mean, you have the ability to... You've got summon monster or planner ally, and you can summon 1d4 plus whatever at later levels. You could have a bunch of imps or imp equivalents just filling these bitches for you.
God, I just pictured you summoned like a group of angels. Like, charge the enemy! No, not you. You come over here. You have a very important job. Fill this.
Well, no, if I was going to be forcing them... If Jack was going to be forcibly making something refill his holy symbols to do his variant channeling bullshit, it would be imps or quasits or one of the evil lower plane outsiders like you. Hold this... Ah, it burns! Get filling! Ah! It'd just be too funny.
Ah, yes. Assholery.
Could also have Thoot do it rather than miss 47 attack rolls in a game.
Or Umbel could use her full round action to do it if she's not using her standard for anything.
You have so many companions that could just do it.
But I would want to summon the imps to teach them a lesson.
If you weren't evil, it wouldn't burn. Idiot.
Yeah, idiot. Get holy water, dumbass.
Alright.
It'd be extra spiteful if I just summoned undead to do it. Not create,
yeah.
Summon skeletons.
I wasn't gonna comment on that bit. I was just gonna like, yeah, maybe. Yeah.
Well, fuck you, Urgathoa. Look what your dudes are doing.
Just spite.
It is just fine. It's inefficient, but it's funny. Anyway.
Alright. Larry's toe fell off again. It's fine. Just keep pouring them. Oh, there goes the pinky. Alright. Okay, so Redemptor's Blessing. I don't know who Redemptor's Blessing is for. It feels odd to me. It's basically a holy symbol that will afflict calm emotions on creatures healed. It'll last as long as the user concentrates, or until aggression is carried out on that target. It's only got a DC of 13, and like, I don't see it scaling amazingly. It could heal Ragers.
Well, hey, you could heal the Barbarian, and his will save is so shit he fucking fails in any way and can't rage.
Yeah.
Yeah, when the enemy Barbarian is about to break your face, and you just heal him. And he doesn't want to break your face no more.
So I just don't feel like it anymore.
I mean, it literally happened to Misery one time. She just didn't feel like it because calm emotions. She was just...
Yeah.
Yeah, alright, time to go accept the sweet embrace of death. Anyways, the item itself costs like 9,000 gold pieces. It's still
Oh, wow.
slotless.
That's garbage.
Yeah, now you see why
For
it's not very
9
good.
grand?
It's like,
I mean, the DC is not very good to fucking begin with, but there is probably there is case uses for this kind of effect. But now there just isn't. It's too low.
I mean, hey, if it dropped right before the big barbarian BBG fight,
It's not gonna though, because the DM's gonna load him up with his cloak of resistance and all this and that, just specifically to prevent you from being like, lol fatigue, lol calm emotions.
I feel like the only thing it really does pretty nicely is it suppresses fear and removes confusion, or the confused condition. So,
do you have to make a caster level check to overcome those effects though?
no.
Is it in an opposed?
The spell automatically suppresses but not dispels any morale bonuses, and then it also suppresses any fear effect and removes the confused condition from all targets.
Okay, so this item is probably good, and that DC is there to stop you, to specifically stop you using it offensively to turn off barbarians and shit.
Maybe.
Just adding calm emotions to your channel. Is that what it does?
Yeah, that's calm emotions to your channel, basically.
Yes.
Okay, it's an AoE spammable no to crowd control.
I mean,
Specific
I
crowd
guess
controls.
if you had this as a second holy symbol, that way you don't just automatically keep shutting down your own barbarian and save it for when your group gets like AoE confused or feared.
Yeah, but the
'Cause I can
barbarian could just will save it and go, nah. Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
but I don't trust our own barbarians to do things like that.
Oof. Fair, but oof.
I mean, yeah. But they can nah.
Man.
Well, hey, worst case scenario, if you see this item, you can sell for 4,500 gold pieces.
True.
If you can't find anything else to do with it.
My thoughts on this item have changed, that it basically suppresses some of the worst kinds of CC.
Yeah. Like when you get hit by one of those, you're paralyzed. Oh, so this is a paralysis effect? No, it's a fear effect. You're so scared you're paralyzed.
Oh,
Like a Mummy's Despair aura.
get fucked. Yeah. Okay.
You turn off the fear, suddenly the paralysis is gone. Yeah.
Okay.
Not the best, but not terrible.
It does actually have use.
Yes.
More than I considered at first.
Yeah, you just got to read the Calm Emotion spell, and it got a little bit of use. Tiny bit.
Alright,
It
so,
also makes your bard sad.
It does make your bard sad. Alright, so I guess we can slide down onto the recondite holy symbol.
Okay.
500 gold. No matter what this thing does, it's not going to be that impressive.
So it's a 500 gold piece item. It's like a more obscure holy symbol from another time, essentially. It has like a higher DC at like 15 to identify who it represents. And it offers the benefit of a +3 on knowledge religion checks related to the deity and religion that it represents after the channeler has used it. That bonus will last for like a minute. I think it's more of a flavorful toy than useful, but early it could be used to obfuscate the entity that you worship, you know, if you don't want it to be like the most common of knowledge.
I mean, that is true. I imagine the DM would have a better time obscuring who you are. If you say you are being fucked with by an old, this. Hell, we've been through a bunch of shit with Lamashtu in the start of Rise. What if instead of it being just a big Lamashtu statue, it was actually a recondite ancient variant of it, and we have got no idea who the fuck that is. Except Amala and Jack were pumping K-Religion, so they know, but a lot of parties are all idiots. The characters are all idiots. You might be able to get away with it.
I don't feel you needed to correct that.
Oof. As an idiot, I'm not sure if I'm offended or not. In any case. Yeah. It is a pretty good way to, like, everybody knows what, say, Argotho's holy symbol might be, but not everyone might know about, like, an older variation, like, that appears to be a moth or something. Maybe that could be mistaken for a Desnan holy symbol, being a butterfly.
I mean, honestly, that makes that'd be, again, it's more of a good DM to. It's like, okay, one of these ancient symbols of Regathor was a death's head moth, but it's weathered and worn. There's moss on it, and you can't quite see the detail on it. Shit, it must be Desnan. It works really well. It just requires the DM to A, know this exists, and B, think of it.
Yeah.
And C, think.
As a player tool,
Wow.
I think most players don't care if the rest of the party knows who they're worshiping, unless they very specifically do, in which case they're probably not worshiping someone nice.
Yeah,
i.e. Shax.
Yeah, Hellvengeance with his fake Desnan holy symbol and just got his Shax one under his jacket.
Yeah, if you had a recondite holy symbol, less people would be able to suss it out if they saw it.
Hellvengeance, why do I never see you cast divine spells? I am doing fucking divine fervor.
Why am I just picturing that one guy from The Mummy pulling out all the fucking holy symbols?
Right?
Pretty much.
That'd be a fun character, wouldn't it? Alright. So we've talked up some recondite holy symbol and talked about how it could be useful. How about we talk about this malleable symbol?
Well, we're talking about items that are interesting, if not necessarily good, versus some of the previous ones that are not interesting and also not good.
Hey, some of them have been good.
Okay.
Don't say something like that. Anyway, so the malleable holy symbol will cost 10 grand again. And it appears as an undistinguishable lump until it gets molded into a masterwork holy symbol, and it allows you to free action change the shape of your channel into like a line or a cone or even a radius burst whenever you would channel.
That's pretty good.
I think it's pretty good, yeah.
Actually, this is fucking amazing.
It's not what you would expect from something called a malleable symbol, is it?
Wait, is there any limit to how many times you can do it? No, it just lets you do this.
It just lets you do it.
You just choose to do one of these.
Yeah.
Yep.
When you turn your channel into a fucking Kamehameha wave, blast the undead.
That's pretty good. I'm down.
It's a cool item.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
no complaints with this one. A bit pricey, but
expensive, but probably worth.
It's a good effect. Or
it's
just
also
dropping the 10-foot burst centered 30 feet away, which means you can technically stretch your thing 40 feet away.
It's like, I've seen the 60-foot line and 30-foot cone before for some similar effects and feats, like we were talking last time about the Azamar feats. But that 10-foot burst centered anywhere within 30 feet, I have not seen that before for like a channel. That's pretty new. That's pretty cool.
When you're trying to pretend your friend is the cleric, so you center the burst on them.
Right. It's interesting that you brought that up. So I think this next one, the malleable monument.
Oh no.
It's a little bit less expensive than the holy symbol at 8,000 GP, and it could be an expensive toy. So there's a couple of things here. Like, if it's molded into the likeness of a deity, those who follow the deity get like a +2 morale bonus against fear, which, okay. More interestingly, it can be used as the origin point of a channel energy, as long as you're within 100 feet of it. So, this is where you go nuts with hypotheticals. Of if you've got this statue, say, you know how you're talking about putting an altar on the frickin' armor? What if instead it was a malleable monument?
Why not all of the above?
I mean, that's gonna be real heavy really quickly.
I don't care.
This will be the gaudiest bullshit. I love it. Anyways.
I'm gonna literally look like a Knight Titan from Warhammer.
So I think that the most interesting effect is definitely that it can be used as the origin point of a channel energy.
Isn't that generally the best use for this? Then would it effectively be having someone else hold it?
Hypothetically, yes.
God, this is where we get to some real weird shit with those the gate rings.
Yeah. It's gate rings
So
all over
you-
again, oh no.
It's gate rings all over again. It's an emanation. It just
Animate
it just
object.
goes.
I mean, you could
True.
animate it, I guess.
Awakened construct on my animated malleable monument.
I think the downside to animating it is that by default it's a little bit squishy with only 8 hardness and 25 hit points. So
I mean,
it can be easily broken if it can be targeted.
Yeah, but you're not using it as a combat thing. You're just having a mobile epicenter of channel.
Yeah, I suppose, yeah.
It could be destroyed. You're right, but if you're doing shit with this biggish statue and waving it around and doing a chakring, it might get destroyed anyway. The
True.
enemy might see that as an issue of whatever the hell it's doing.
It also has this weird third effect that basically costs its power, but it can become the center of a howl or unhowl spell. It takes 10 minutes to get that effect going, and it'll last for 24 hours. Or until destroyed.
I guess.
Yeah,
I'd much rather just reliquary armor up and treat it as an altar and just have a permanent altar effect on something or someone.
yeah.
That's less interesting because there's lots of other ways to just do that.
Yeah. The most interesting part of it is definitely it's now the origin point, so you can have it on the fighter's back. And use the fighter as your origin point for your channels.
There is excellent uses for this. Man, I really wish we'd have done this entire cleric rundown months ago, so Jack could have half of these toys.
I know, right?
Would you have liked Jack to have had more random bullshit to just fuck with the battlefield, Ashy?
I don't know. I don't think so. I mean, I think I'm currently fine with the amount of bullshit that he has. Making Kefling the origin point of all of his channels would have been really funny, though.
But what if I doubled the bullshit with most of this shit?
I mean, Amala
yeah.
could literally simulacrum you and we could double the bullshit for real.
True.
Oh god.
I think dropping infinite simulacrum cheese into the party as actual combatants and strategic things just ends the campaign at that point, because what's Karzak gonna do? What's
Clearly-
Karzak gonna do when 5 Amalas rock up, level guns, and firing line disintegrate at him?
Clearly the proper answer is to have 10 fucking Karzogs and 10 more fucking Karzogs.
True, Karzak does the exact same thing.
When you're fighting Karzog and every ad is Karzog.
This is just Major's disjunction all over again. We don't use Mordecai's disjunction, the enemy doesn't. We don't spam the battlefield with simulacrums, the enemy doesn't. We pick our difficulty level here.
Anything you can do, I can do too.
I mean, that's why even though she's made unlimited simulacrums, they're literally just running things at home.
Yep.
Yep.
Crafting, resources, yeah.
Matt, when we tell our single viewer about the whole Jack having a simulacrum made while he's on an adventure to be the father of his child, and his wife being like, "This is not okay."
Yep.
But it's
Nope.
literally me. No, it's not you. It's a simulacrum made of snow.
No,
It's in the
no,
spell
this is-
description. It's literally me.
No,
Let's not
it's
forget
you.
Shalhira's
This
a
one's
wizard.
responsible.
This one's here for you. Oh shit, it's better than me.
Oh my god, okay. let's reel it back in now. Let's reel it back in. Symbol of Luck. Before you get excited, Wah, this is a halfling item. It costs 6,000 GP. And its benefit is for halflings with the luck or adaptable luck trait. They essentially can give a +1 luck bonus to saving throws for a number of rounds equal to their channel dice whenever they channel energy. So it's actually not a terrible effect,
Wouldn't you just
but you have
have
to be a halfling.
Wouldn't I mean the Lucky Clover is literally just a better item than this, objectively.
It's also
And not much more expensive. Is
I was
it?
gonna say
How much
it's
does
a
it
more
cost?
expensive item, and like the Lucky Clover only affects one person. This affects everyone in the channel.
Yeah, but if you're doing these kind of +1 luck bonusy effects, you're really wanting Fate's Favor and to be stacking and doing cheese with it, else it's not that impressive.
Yeah, that's true. That's fair. A +2 bonus is much better than a +1 bonus, isn't it, Wah?
+30 will save him.
Anyways, considering what it is, like, at 6k, it just being a thing is a nice bonus, though. It's just one more thing you can stack on your channel.
I mean, true. If you are doing, like, say, I mean, Jack could have probably have used this as well and just stacked his channel luck into the most ridiculous pile of free shit, which is what the goal was actually.
Yeah.
I see your point. If you stack enough things and stack enough effects and enough thing is just front loaded into a channel, it's good just for sheer volume.
Yeah.
It is just yet another thing to pile into it. Yeah, okay, fair.
Behold, the impossible to argue statement of, it's just one more thing.
Stuff. Just more stuff. Fair.
Alright. Okay, we're at the brick now. The Construct Channel Brick.
Brick.
So, this brick is a bit pricey at 10k, and it lets the user channel energy to repair constructs as well as objects, regardless of channel type. So, positive or negative will heal a construct. It will also support the Artifice domain, granting those with it an additional +2d6 channel dice for the purpose of healing objects and constructs.
You didn't mention the most important part of this, though, where it is literally just a red clay house brick.
It is also a brick.
But it is a red clay house brick that
You know,
everyone is familiar with, and that is by far the most important part. And do you know why that is? It's because you can do many things with a brick. You can throw it, you can put it in a sock and hit somebody with it.
I was gonna say, so what you're saying is pick up, throw anything, or catch off guard, and beat them with a brick.
And just be like, hey, shit ass. Throw the brick.
So what you're saying is Shikigami style.
Bob
Brick.
the Builder is a cleric monk. He's a sacred fist, and Bob the Builder is done taking your shit. Can he fix it? Yes, he can.
So yeah, that's what the brick does. It's Artifice domain support and lets you heal constructs and repair objects.
And it's a brick.
And it's also a brick. One must never forget, it's still a brick.
There we go.
Alright. So the Holy Wreath Band. This one's a little bit cheaper at 5,700. It allows the user to create good berries and effects that they use or cast that affect plants, including domain powers of the plant domain, gain +1 caster level and a +1 save DC. It is good plant domain support.
Decent druid item, to be honest.
It's also not a bad druid item either.
In fact, this even just feels like a druid item.
It does feel pretty druidy, doesn't it?
It might actually just be a druid item.
But it's also benefiting Cleric, who doesn't normally get to cast Goodberry.
Yeah, so it's a druid item.
Okay. That just means we have to talk about it again when we talk about Druid. Are you ready?
No.
Alright, so the Phylactery of Faithfulness. We're starting out strong with this headband at 1,000 gold pieces. It's a headband. So,
it's a box.
It's also a box. This item warns a wearer if something that they are about to do would adversely affect their alignment or standing with their deity. Like, this item could be nice from a roleplay standpoint, but it's a headband, which is a very contested slot for a cleric. And the player should probably know about their deity, you know, so they aren't violating these anyways.
I mean, true, but there is also a lot of wiggle room where you either need to do it, think it's a good idea to do it, might need to bend the rules for survival's sake. I mean, Jack's had that existential crisis with fucking Pharasma enough times because Pharasma is a fickle, uncaring bitch who doesn't really state many things out in plain.
True.
And
There was a god in the 3.5, and I think it was Tyr.
Right.
And while Tyr was a lawful, good god of justice and doing this and that, I'm pretty sure he's... No, it wasn't. It was Cuthbert. It was Saint Cuthbert. And in his religious texts and teachings, yes, he was lawful good of justice and doing this and that, but he had a number one tenet. And it was use fucking common sense.
Lamau.
His number one. So when you had a paladin who goes, my code says I must charge the dragon that is vastly out of my price range, and I must kill it or try or die trying, Cuthbert would be like,
You're a fucking
no,
idiot.
you idiot. And I really appreciated that about Saint Cuthbert.
yeah, but that's not how faith works. Use common sense is kind of the antithesis of a lot of faith.
It is,
Ouch.
but that's why I like Cuthbert. Because his was, don't be fucking stupid.
You might also get a giggle to hear that St. Cuthbert's mace is an item.
In Pathfinder?
Yes.
Where?
Are you serious?
It's not in here, is it?
It's not here, no. It's not a cleric item. It's a beat stick.
Isn't that the one we had gotten way back?
St. Cuthbert's mace is basically an item that pops up where it's needed most. And it appears as this unassuming wooden mace. But it's actually this like +5 holy, like axiomatic beat stick that will disappear just as quickly. Yeah.
Nice.
And it disappears when it's no longer needed. Because there's only one and it goes to where it's needed most. Which is normally right before like a hero is about to face off with a fated foe or something.
So what we're saying is that Paizo really also likes Saint Cuthbert enough to put his item in the game.
So anyways, enough about St. Cuthbert, I think. Phylactery of the Shepherd.
Bah.
So it's another headband. This one's sitting at 7,000 GP. It allows the wearer 3 times per day to cast status, like on an ally within 30 feet. It's not exactly status, but it's basically status. It will also allow them to swift action to channel or lay on hands if they have either ability upon that ally, and that will expire the status effect if they do so. I think this is a decent item, but also still a contested one. Because it's still a headband!
I mean, at this point, you build your headband of wisdom, charisma, whatever, into one of these. You use this as the base item at that point. Yes, that requires you to be able to use the custom crafting rule set, but if a DM wants players to be using these fun flavor items that do a little bit of something that's marginally useful in the highly contested slot, they probably should be allowing you to use the custom rules to use these fun items as the base item, else you're just going to fucking sell it.
Reminder, DMs, if you're going to allow your players to do that, consider doing that against them, because you'll need to match their power.
Oh, and
Go ahead.
And don't do what Ashy has done and let us build all of our headbands into Cyclops helmets, because everyone's got a free nat 20 every day now.
Actually, I think only 2 of us have that, oddly enough.
It's bad enough!
It is. But I'm gonna devil's advocate on this one and just say that unless you're a paladin with the lay on hands and being able to do it at 30 feet, but the fact that they limited it to 30 feet kinda hurts, because at that point, just fucking channel.
Yeah.
Swift action.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, sure, you can't swift action do it, but you're only applying it to a single person.
Yeah.
So blowing an entire channel to, like, just affect one person.
Well, you get to a point where you've got a lot of channels, and basically being able to double heal somebody or whatever you're doing, they get twice the... One person who really needs it gets twice the effect. There is a good case use for this. Somebody getting absolutely murdered.
I'm gonna drop the standard. Amala likes to start every combat with haste, but since she doesn't go first in the initiative and goes somewhere in the middle, how often are they all out of range of haste, and she only gets to pick like both casters and one of the melees? Nobody stays within 30 feet of each other anymore.
Why do you think I got the Scar Hex to engineer that all my hexes and buffs have a 2-mile range on them?
So
yeah, there's
you're
a damn
agreeing
good
with
reason.
my criticism of that 30 feet.
Well, sort of yes, no, but Jack was entirely purpose-built to exist within 30 feet of the important people, and for the most part, the important frontline people who needed the most support were slow-ass motherfuckers in heavy and medium armor. So I didn't have much of an issue keeping up with them.
Yeah. Now we've hit the point where it's like, combat has started and everybody scatters.
Yeah, we've got Misery, who is just super fast. We've got Keflang with Armored Marauder, so he just goes fast now. Then
and
again,
the worst part is they never go in the same direction, so it's not even like Amala could teleport next to them and be like, here's your haste, people. No, one went left, one went right.
I'll be honest, Jax had that Alpenstock the entire game, and that additional +5 movement speed has sort of kept me ahead of whatever the fuck anybody's doing, as long as it's not just a straight-up charge. I move faster than everybody else in the party at the standard move action. So again, I've not felt too bad about it. The Alpenstock is low-key being a very good item for me.
Well, let's just not count Misery, because her movement speed is like...
Yeah. Ranger goes zoom, and Misery's always had so much hit points that I've not had too much issue needing to heal her. It's like, oh, you're beat up and battered, but the combat's over because you've just eaten them.
Especially now that she's got her... especially now that she's got her fucking regeneration of like 16 hit points per turn.
That's so disgusting.
Celestial Totem, a ring of regen, but also turns into a dragon with nearly 300 hit points. Don't let DMPCs become this powerful in your campaigns, or they are literally the new protagonists. They are now.
It wasn't supposed to happen. I didn't enable this.
You know, at the beginning of the game, I understood it because Amala spent a lot of her money to make sure that the Amulet of Mighty Fist was good. But at this point, even without that Amulet of Mighty Fist, she'd still be.
Yeah, she was literally built to be independent of items. She wasn't built to be reliant on them.
And yet you spent shitloads of money on gearing her up as well, so now she is a terrifying force of nature that has rendered much of our participation irrelevant.
Yes, but the party opted to be giving her money. I didn't.
You don't get to make that excuse.
Anyways, alright. Flactor the Shepherd. The 30 feet kinda blows. It's probably better for a paladin than a cleric. But a cleric could still make pretty good use of it. And if they have variant channel as well as a normal channel by some means, like the Anointed Holy Symbol, hypothetically they could share bonuses in an area, and also targetedly heal that person for a significant amount. Yeah. Moving on. The Phylactery of Channeling comes in 2 flavors. There's positive and negative. They both cost 11k, they both add 2d6 to the channel dice. It's still a contested slot being a headband. This is probably the best of the 3 headbands so far, but realistically, you probably aren't going to be using any of these headbands because stats are just so damn valuable.
Yeah, Headband of Wisdom is just... I mean, I guess you could use this and just do the Eagle Splendor thing.
I mean, you could. And Owl's Wisdom.
Yeah, it was Owl's Wisdom, whichever one.
I mean, maybe, but also, you know, +6/+6 and potentially a third +6 headband.
Oh, yeah. No, absolutely. Once you get the 3s, but like this is only 11 grand, where that is like 50 grand.
Yeah.
I feel the best reason to use these things is if they dropped in treasure, and then just use them and use the stat spells to, at least until you get a better stat headband.
I mean, very probably. Or you could do what Wasp just earlier and use the item creation.
Swapping.
Yeah.
I mean, hot swapping works. I mean, hot swapping is rough because for the first 24 hours after putting on the other headband, like, it doesn't count as a permanent bonus, which means like, it doesn't give you more spells or more channels if it's charisma based.
That is true.
It'll just influence DCs.
I mean, again, you're at this point where it's just, I will use this as my base item, especially for things that scale. If you're doing something that scales with dice.
Yeah.
Especially with the variant channeling effects that scale with dice. There's not necessarily just numbers, it's plus bonuses that rely on dice number.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, this is actually really good. In a lot of cases that just isn't. Yeah.
It's also
you're
it's
fighting
also,
with the stat slot still.
It's arguably a better item if you're using channel feats, because most of the channel feats, or a lot of them, looked at how many dice you were rolling.
True.
And another +2 for those dice could be valuable.
Yes.
True. You know, especially with the ones that you channel to empower an item.
Yeah.
If you're using those, you're getting an additional +2 or whatever. You could be artificially hitting the +5 bonus to a weapon to bypassing damage reductions and stuff real fucking early when you shouldn't be. I think there's a lot of uses for this, but that just entirely depends on what you're doing specifically.
I agree.
As with many things.
I agree. So shall we migrate down to this Daylight Diadem?
Sure.
The Daylight Diadem, it sits at a mean 20k. It's a head slot item and not a headband, so that's an important distinction. To break it down in a few words, it has 4 charges. It regains a charge each day if exposed to the rising sun. You can spin a charge as part of a channel to make the radius extend to 60 feet.
Ooh.
The other effect is a command word that burns all remaining charges and creates a 60-foot radius light that counters or dispels darkness spells of 4th level or lower, and it is treated as natural sunlight.
Ah.
Ooh.
That one thing that spells don't seem to be able to do anymore.
In this light, all weapons are treated as good aligned for the purpose of bypassing DR, and do an additional 1d6 divine damage to evil creatures. Creatures hindered or harmed by sunlight take 2d6 damage on hit instead. The effect persists for rounds equal to double the charges used.
Oh.
It's a 20k item, it's a big item, and it looks to be worth that cost.
I feel like you're going to be saving all 4 charges, or at least 2 of them, for like a big battle with something weak against light.
Hey, Strahd, think fast!
I mean, realistically, against a lot of things that it matters, you may only need 1 charge. And the first effect of just
2 rounds.
Yeah, it'll just last 2 rounds, which is enough to cause vampires, for example, to just burst into flames and die. And most of those things with sunlight powerlessness will just be utterly screwed for 2 rounds anyways, and will probably die in those 2 rounds because they'll do anything.
Okay, the one thing I feel sucks about this, though, is you can't control the bright light thing. It's just automatically all of them.
Yes.
I mean, let's look at Trini and his like -30 to stealth checks due to his halo that he refused to turn off.
I mean, yeah, but if you're talking about, are you talking about the part where it makes all the weapons good aligned?
Do we have to talk about it? It means the rogue who's 2-weapon fighting blending is about to ruin something's day.
Like, I'm asking which part Des is referring to as being a downside.
Oh,
No, the bright
I was
lights.
talking the brilliance thing. Like when you use the command word thing, it uses all remaining flowers.
Yeah, yeah, it does.
Like that's what I was saying is kind of the weak point of it. It kind of makes it where you want to use the 60-foot one as many times as you can, but just always save like 1 or 2 to do the bright light. Bright light.
I mean, that's fair.
I suppose.
It could be a pretty
Okay.
mad item.
That's pretty good. I don't hate this.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
It's a good undead hoser. That thing that it's more fucking undead hosing.
It's undead hosing, but it's not concentrated on one character. It's spread out.
True.
And like, it's not necessarily just undead hosing. It is weak to sunlight hosing. Hindered. So creatures hindered by sunlight includes anything with light sensitivity or light blindness, which branches out
kobolds.
well beyond just undead.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just the big upfront effects are like, oh, it's destroyed by undead. Oh, if it's a, I don't know, what is it, shade or shadow, whichever's turned off by bright light, they're just non-existent. The big impactful effects are mostly undead. I think there's a couple of devils that hate it, like, I don't know, Shadow Demon or something, I don't know. There's other things, but most of them are undead.
Yeah, there are other things that'll hate it. It's just the big ones that you think of immediately are like your wraiths and whatnot and your vampires. That'll just fucking melt.
I mean, hey, we lost in 8-turn undead from 3.5 that has a chance of destroying low-end undead. This will hose a swarm of vampire spawn.
It will.
Man, it's just another Curse of Strahd coded item. Granted, Strahd would probably have taken this item, and if he couldn't destroy it, locked it up somewhere real deep under the ground. As he tends to do.
Yeah, it makes sense. Sounds about right.
He did that with a lot of things.
You could absolutely try, but this is not a legendary item of any sort. It's not an artifact. It could be crafted. And its crafting requirements aren't even that stringent.
Amala could absolutely just make a couple of these by adding just, actually, 5 to the DC, because she just doesn't have Sunbeam.
You know, we're getting to a point where Amala could craft this item and just add in command word activation. You just say, hey, shit-ass, we've made this job before and throw it at them. Then it explodes into light.
Things you could do, I guess. Alright.
Look, I'm having a day where everything is now just a brick of various flavors that you throw.
Oh, okay. It's all bricks now.
Actually, that just reminded me of a point I was going to make. Why the hell are all these phylacteries a headband slot? Why is everybody wanting to wear tiny boxes on top of their head?
I don't know. I don't know. It's kind of silly. It sounds goofy. I don't know. Anyways.
Just with the box on my head. It's my holy box. It's on my head.
So, okay. Let's move on. The Mantle of the Faithful Vessel.
Luckily, it's not a box that you wear on your head.
It's not a box. It is kind of a mythic item, though. Kind of. Oh. So you might not be allowed to have it.
Wait,
if you can have it, it's a chest slot item. It's another 10k cost item. It attunes to your deity, which is very flavorful. And its effect is that when you channel creatures healed or like affected by bless, you channel, you just automatically bless the creatures that are healed.
And a DC 11 will save to resist a channel harm bane effect.
Correct.
Why is this a mythic item? It's fucking garbage.
I mean, I think the bless part is actually pretty solid. It's one of those just another effects. If you want to know why it's a mythic item, it's because if you have a mythic tier, if you have a mythic tier, you get to add your mythic tier to the damage that it heals or deals. It's a very okay item. The bless on the heal is actually kind of good. I don't think the Bane at DC 11 will stick to anything. I think that's pretty bad.
And adding your mythic tier to it
isn't going to add a lot.
Or +2. It's not going to add a lot, and yet you need
I mean, if it's a mythic campaign, you might be getting like up to mythic 7, mythic 8, mythic 10. At which point, a flat number is a flat number. But still, yeah, it's not actually an impressive item for a mythic item.
Overall, the bless is kind of what you're getting here.
Yeah, realistically.
And if you get this early enough in the campaign, like rather than like if you either craft it or find it as part of treasure early enough into a game, over the course of a campaign, all of the channels that happen, that bless can do work.
I mean, it's kind of like if you got haste, you got the bless, you got other things sticking to your channel, you're boosting attack rolls further. It is just another +1 for the attack rolls. It is another slightly helps to hit.
I'm not gonna put this in the good tier, but I'm not gonna put it at like bad either. It's okay. It's passable. It's
It's a chest slot item. A lot of the chest slots are kind of underwhelming.
yeah. I wouldn't
it's-
be sad to get it.
I think it's bad in the context of you need Mythic Crafter to make it. If
Yeah.
you stripped out all references to Mythic in this and just made it an item that you can get in a normal campaign, I think it'd be alright.
If
I mean,
it
to
was
be
a
fair,
10k
if you
item and all it did was add bless to your channel, to like to targets healed.
I mean, that's the thing. If you took off the thing about it being mythic and you took off the mythic crafter, I guarantee you it would have been blapped down by probably like 3,000 to 5,000.
Sure.
I mean,
Fine.
possibly.
And then it's even more worth it.
Yes.
Just in a Mythic campaign, it's so underwhelming that you're gonna whatever.
Yeah, this is like the gift you when you open your fucking Christmas present, it's just socks.
Let's scuttle down to this edgy-ass named item, the Forbidden Name.
Forbidden Name.
It's so PoE coded.
Kinda is.
It's like,
I mean, we've got lots of items. The Forbidden. We've got the Forbidden Shaco, the Forbidden Flame,
Forbidden Flesh.
Just need the matching Forbidden. I don't know. What is a name?
The Forbidden
What
What
does
is
it
a
fucking-
name. Beautiful. Elegantly
What does it
put.
do?
It's a +3, like, suit of studded leather armor. It's priced at $21.75, so it's like awkward pricing. It's essentially a rune domain support. So it's trying to make
talked about this.
it's trying to make the rune domain better, which I think is a noble cause. 3 times per day, you can mark one of the ribbons with a blast rune, rather than like just a space on the ground. The rune will stick around until spells are prepared again. As a swift action, you can lash out with that ribbon to trigger the rune. And 2 uses of the armor's ability will allow you to apply a spell rune instead, which is the ability where you can attach a targeted spell to that rune to trigger when the rune goes off. And alternatively, and this applies to anyone in the armor, you can spend 2 uses to put a glyph of warding or explosive runes on a ribbon. And if you use all 3 uses, you can put a greater glyph of warding onto a ribbon. It's kind of PoE jank glue tier. It might be enough to save a terrible domain like rune. Possibly.
We've looked at Runecaster and like Runeword stuff. I like the theme. I'm all about dwarves and the 3.5 style rune circles. I'm all about that. But there's so many restrictions on the rune stuff, what you can and can't do, and anything you could do that's even remotely creative has been muted out of it, because I assume Paizo feared what it could do. There's no saving it.
Why would they make this a studded leather armor? They should have made it some sort of medium armor to go better with cleric. Especially if you're a rune cleric, so you're a crafter.
Because Paizo fucking hates rune magic.
I don't know.
They even made the armor support for it unappealing.
I mean, okay. So, a swift action to deal 1d6 plus, like, 1 per, like, 2 cleric levels or something, or whatever the damage scaling is, like, that on its own isn't the worst thing to do, even though it's only, like, 3 times per day, because it gives you a swift action spender before you normally would have a swift action spender, and it's a little bit extra damage. And once you're 8th level, you can attach, like, I don't know, a single target spell of some sort. Maybe, like, a hold person or something.
Look, when you've got the only source of support for something that really needs help, and it is so limited, and, is he going to do this one once a day, and it's unappealing armor, you're not making it good. There is no redeeming it, because it is literally being set up to fail and be unappealing, and you just go, I'm just going to do something better. I mean, the rune domain and the rune casting in itself is so fucking clunky and short range, and it's like, you activated my trap card.
Yeah.
And the DM just like, no, I don't, because I saw this shit coming. I'm just going to step around it. I saw you put that down, dickhead. It's just so bad.
When the DM feels bad and just has the mook step on it anyway.
Yeah,
You're a
exactly.
rude priest.
At this point, you're just showing mercy to the fucking player and just letting it happen. Because otherwise, it just wouldn't work.
It's like, I was fussing around with like something that would lay down traps. And like, I put down a trap behind line of sight, and then watch the DM just kind of casually have the thing go around this trap that it should have had to make at least an attempt to detect. And it's like, yeah, fair enough. Okay. It is a case where like, yeah, these trap rune type things aren't very good just because the meta knowledge of knowing they're there. It doesn't help them out at all.
Nope.
Though this doesn't, although it's only 3 times per day, which if it was unlimited times per day, it would probably be a little bit busted. But like limited 3 times per day, it's like 3 times per day you can just make your domain power do a something guaranteed.
Yeah, but it's just not very effective towards mid to late. But that's sort of my point. It's a uniquely supporting a very specific thing that doesn't have much support. It could at least have the common decency to be fucking good. And not just be outscaled and goes trash heap after level 6, because it's just not worth doing.
I guess if it was a mountain pattern armor or like a metal lamellar or something, or a breastplate, that would have probably made it a lot better then. I mean, I guess that's another way that it's kind of just jank.
Would be nice.
You're asking for a lot there for some kind of scaling. Haven't you seen how many of these items have scaling?
Well, yeah, but this, again, I am pointing out that this is support to a very specific thing that is not very good to begin with. So why don't the uses per day match your channel times per day, or whatever else?
Or maybe just your uses for the blast rune or something.
Sure.
Or at least almost.
Sure, fine, whatever. Anything to help it.
I mean, yeah, that would sincerely help it a lot.
It's a band-aid, and it's a band-aid when you need a fucking fracture surgery.
Yeah, I suppose. I like the item, but that's fair.
No, you like the flavor and the concept of the item. It has been executed horribly. Because it doesn't fix what it wants to fix, because Paizo is scared of it. I don't know why, but they are.
Regardless, we can stop talking about it and go down to the guiding vellum. So the guiding vellum, that's another weird one. So it is attuned to some spell level when it's created, and it shows a spell level of its level that should be helpful later that day. Essentially asking the DM to come up with a spell that is a hint for the type of things players may encounter that day. I'd say it's definitely an item of all time. It has a variant cost based on spell level.
This has Jack written all over it.
Yeah, except every day it just comes up storm bolts.
You know?
What would be useful today? Storm bolts. Fantastic.
This also requires that the DM be fairly familiar with the caster spell list. Or the cleric spell list in this case.
I mean, if a player ends up with it, they should probably make themselves familiar with it.
Well, yeah. So I think it's a pretty weird item.
I mean, it is effectively a it's effectively a guaranteed failless divination, because you can extrapolate the information. It's like you've got a divination spell like augury or guidance, and you get some cryptic fucking hint. With this thing, you pull out and it says, it likes undeath to death, or I don't know, daylight, and you can extrapolate out that there's going to be something particular. You know, you can extrapolate this information a lot better than you could most of the divination spells.
Prepare suppress charms and compulsions today. Uh-oh.
It's succubi! Or something.
Uh-oh.
Drop that yield
if it was succubi, it'd just be banishment.
It'd probably be suppress charms and compulsions, dismissal, banishment.
Yeah. The things that Jack mostly has always prepared these days, even though he keeps banishing loot.
I was about to say, stop banishing the loot.
But it's really funny to be like, hey, That's a nice pit fiend you have there. No. It happened in the damaged... Was it the damaged dam, the hydroelectric dam thing, with the thing that slipped through the floor, the big lava golem devil thing? And it's like, this is supposed to harass you through the entire dungeon. Yeah, I banished it. Fuck you.
It wasn't the dam, but you're thinking of well, not even the right book really. You're thinking of book 4. On the way to fighting Mechmirian.
You're right. Well, the point is just having dismissal or banishment actually solves a lot of problems in a campaign. You're being harassed by this earth gliding fucking thing. No, I'm not. Go away. Wow, you just ended the actual threat of the dungeon. Oh, that was great. Give me the XP.
Lamau.
Problem solved. Encounter defeated. That probably annoys a lot of DMs actually. That would actually legitimately piss off some DMs.
Probably.
But also, fuck you, it's on my spell list.
I take it personally, it's fine. It's kind of funny, it's like, well, it was supposed to do a thing, it's not to do that thing now, it's in wherever the fuck it stand.
It went to Gehenna. I remember it going to Gehenna.
Oh, right, okay.
The docile of salt and tears. Shit, it's me playing League.
Yeah, it's a docile, whatever the hell that is. Essentially,
What's a docile? Oh, it's another fucking reliquary box, but big. It's basically a holy chest / altar.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's functionally kind of an altar magic item, and it's probably the only altar magic item I plan on talking about for a little bit. And I'm talking about this one because it functions a little out of its box. It comes in at like 50k in value. Praying at it. What?
So apparently it's a banner.
Yeah.
In this case. Okay.
It's yeah, praying at this altar will give you a +2 on knowledge checks, or give a weapon axiomatic or bane. Additionally, like, holy water can be harvested from the docile. These abilities will only function if a character worships Iomide or Aridin.
Aridin's dead!
Yes. The bonuses last for 24 hours and are a power of the altar and not the dead god.
Okay.
A cleric of Iomide can also use this altar to prepare some domain spells from like community, knowledge, law, or protection, which are domains that Iomide normally doesn't have access to that Aridin had.
If I recall right, community is actually a really good domain, if only because it's got miracle at the end of it.
It had a couple very good like group buffs too.
Yeah. Trinian had it because I know Trinian's particular archetype was lacking certain wide radius buffs. So he went into this as part of his mythic ascension to being able to grant powers.
Yeah. Community is it's a very Trinian coded domain in it. It makes sense for him to have. As an item, I think it's pretty good, but you kind of have to be worshipping like Iomide to get the most out of it, and you could hypothetically worship Aridin, but you're probably not a cleric of Aridin if you are. That said, getting Bane or Axiomatic on a weapon, mostly Bane,
yeah,
not bad.
Pair it with that Vellum and see if you can guess what Bane it should be today.
Shit, you might be onto something.
Let me consult the Vellum. Alright, I want Undead Bane.
Alright. So, the Candle of Invocation.
This item is ringing bells in my brain because I'm pretty sure it was a big old part of Pun. Am I right with the Candle of Invocation, like one of the greater ones, to just get a genie and start your wish cascading?
So what this does, I don't think you really use it to get a genie. I guess hypothetically you could, using its last power. But let's start from the top. It's an 8,400 cost item. It has no slot. Each candle is associated with an alignment. It grants basically heroism to creatures within 30 feet who share that alignment with the candle while it burns. Clerics whose alignment matches the candle can prepare spells as if 2 levels higher, and can gain spells they normally could not cast.
Oh shit. What the fuck? Actually a good item.
This buff holds for as long as the candle burns, which is normally only 4 hours. And you can consume the entire candle all at once to cast a gate spell. But the respondent has to be the same alignment as the candle. So you could gate in a genie.
Okay, so this is so yeah. This is why this is ringing the bell. It is pun enabler. That's kind of a busted fucking 8,400. It's not a scroll, so you're not fighting caster level.
It is a consumable technically. It's a consumable
sure.
that'll last around 4 hours usually.
Sure, but okay, it's a gate scroll, which is probably more expensive than 8,400.
I don't know, probably. Maybe not. Could be. Actually, gate's an expensive ass spell, isn't it?
Yeah.
It might be cheaper than a gate scroll.
I actually think it is. Ha.
But the respondent has to be the same alignment as the candle, which you will probably choose what alignment you want when you make the damn thing.
Yep. See, okay, so we've got this ridiculously powerful item. This is a ridiculous item.
It's kind of goofy.
And then we're gonna go back to the fucking forbidden name, which is just absolutely dog shit. Why do these two things exist?
I think the candle gets to be a bit cheaper because it's technically consumed.
But it's still infinitely better.
But it's also pretty good. Like, that basically heroism is nice. I think the best part, arguably, could be the ability to cast spells that you normally can't cast. Like, let's say you're a 15th level cleric. Well, now you're going to prepare spells as a 17th level cleric. Hey, look, there's a 9th level spell in there.
Nope.
Snag.
You can definitely rock up to a boss fight after burning one of these and start actually just clowning it, because you're throwing spells around that ain't designed to even be here.
Goofy item.
It is an exceptionally goofy item. I'm sure Amala can figure out a way to abuse these.
I don't think you need Amala's intelligence to abuse this. To be frank.
Yeah, but I'm extra stupid, so...
That's fair. Alright, so you guys ready to move on to another item I think's pretty good, the Blessed Keepsake?
I've already got it.
Let's see.
So, the Blessed Keepsake is an 8k item. It occupies a neck slot, and it allows for a piece of an outsider to be entered into it. It grants 3 abilities. It allows the wearer to detect alignment associated with the piece at will. 3 times per day they can gain protection from the associated alignment. If the wearer can channel energy, they can channel energy as if they possessed the alignment channel of that associated alignment. Ergo, you'll probably put a piece of like a demon or a devil in it and say alignment channel evil. So it can basically be attack feat and 2 spell likes. The spell likes aren't the best spell likes in the world, but
I mean, I'll detect spells depending on when you decide to use them can be pretty good.
Yeah.
I mean, there was that whole thing with Shim. It was actually that funny thing with Shim's campaign, where the town mayor was being such a dick. Kizin just decided to punch him, and by punching him, it turned out that the guy was a fucking demon. And then Shim's just like, you weren't supposed to find this out until many, many weeks down the line. I didn't expect you to punch him.
Well,
so you're in these situations where the answer is just violence. But you're in that situation where if something is a little bit sus, and the DM's trying to pull a fast one on you, breaking out the detect and going, wow, he's lying through his fucking teeth. He's evil as hell. So the protection from and detect are actually, I think, some of the most useful and better spell likes you could generally get. It's like, I'm not going to say mage hand, I can do dancing lights. It's like, fuck that.
The protection from evil will also just absolutely turn off a character such as any kind of evil summoner that wants to just fling summons at you.
True, the scumbag tactics just stop.
Oh no.
I like this item, this is pretty good.
I think it's a good item.
I think it's good.
It does take the next slot, but that's probably worth it, to be honest.
Yeah, next slot isn't as key as some others.
Yeah.
I mean, what is the next slot normally for? Well, you're either a monk or a natural attacker that wants an AMF.
Or you want your amulet of natural armor.
Or it's natural armor, and a lot of classes can get away without stacking their armor up. Even if
there's also like
5 natural armor's good.
Amulet of Fireball is probably also a pretty decent one, just for yeeting fireballs.
I suppose if you're a tiefling, the Dark Sire amulet could be quite appealing.
Dark Sire amulet's pretty good for a tiefling. Just because going from 5 resist to 10 resist is a pretty big deal.
Yeah, I believe that was one of the things that Amala put on the AMF for.
It is.
Just to make her resistances better. Yeah, that was kind of another problem with this campaign. We got so much extra money and then doubled it by having a crafter.
Yeah.
Truth. To be fair, though, I don't think we've actually really beaten a campaign for many years without a crafter, because I'm usually the person who goes, I'm going to double our money this campaign and be the craft bitch. You just decide to pick it up this campaign instead. Probably because I went, I'm not going to do it this time.
And that and Jack already had so much to do with feats and everything that, and Amala was literally just like, okay, what am I going to get this level?
Guess I can pick this up.
Fucking Arcanist just being all nice and self-contained.
I don't even need feats to be good. Wow.
Alright.
Teleports
alright.
your battle.
Let's reel it back in, guys. Oh. So the Glory Medallion. It's more Iomade support at like 5,000 GP.
I'm seeing a bit of favoritism.
Oh, a little bit. And it allows the bear to treat a single 1 as a 6 whenever they channel.
Wow, this is so much better than the Serenray $5,000 item.
It is a bit better, yeah. It also lets them once per day consume channels at a rate of 1 channel per spell level to attempt to dispel a darkness spell that's like lower than 9th level. So you could eat up like 8 channels to try and dispel an 8th level darkness equivalent spell. If and you really wanted to. The first effect is much better than the second effect. It could be useful.
I suppose there's a couple of situations where you want to just blop a deeper darkness out because whatever's doing it has got Devil's Sight and just does not care.
Or blop out a Hungry Shadows.
True.
Which is another nasty higher level shadow spell.
It's very niche. I suppose it can really save your ass, but it's very niche.
It's also a slotless item. Yeah, again, that first fucking ability, those. Ah, yes, you roll a 1. That one's now a 6.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's fucking goofy. That's silly.
I wish Jack had one of these. Oh wait, it's Iomade only.
It's Iomade only.
Fuck you, Iomade. Paizo, stop giving to your fucking thruple, please.
I don't think Iomade is in the thruple. I think it's Desna, Shellen.
I thought it was Iomade. Oh wait.
It's like Serenray, Desna, and Shellen. Serenray, Desna, and Shellen. Not Iomade.
I keep forgetting Serenray exists. Frankly.
I mean, with items like that freaking ring. Okay. In fairness, though, I think the Daylight Diadem is a Serenray coded item, so that one's worth something.
Yeah,
anyways,
it's specific to her.
Yeah, it's not specific.
Yeah.
A unicorn's blackened horn, huh?
The unicorn's blackened horn.
There's a lot of text on this.
There is. I'll break it down. Sitting at a 50k price tag, this item has to be held in hand for its effects. The first effect is that the wielder is healed by both positive and negative energy. Their prepared cure spells can spontaneously be shifted into inflict spells, even if they're not normally on their list. It obscures the true effect of a cure spell, making it hard to identify, you know, if you spontaneously turned it into an afflict, so you can do some spicy nonsense. And if you can spontaneously cast either cure or inflict, you can spontaneously cast both now. Yeah, if they can channel energy twice per day, they can channel the opposite normal energy. So if you channel positive, you can drop 2 negatives.
It's
If you
hilarious.
channel negative, you can drop 2 positives.
It's hilarious that this lets an evil healer go around pretending they're a good healer just to set themselves up for you know, anything, any kind of big long-term evil plan.
I mean,
Also-
again, Helventius was definitely doing the exact thing, and it's like, yeah, this is...
Possibly worth mentioning, good creatures holding this item gain a negative level until they put it back down.
Of course.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
an evil-coded item.
Of course.
Technically, good creatures can use it. Good creatures are punished by holding it.
I suppose at that point you'd actually need to have stuff that obscures your own or makes you undetectable or counters not good as something. There's ways to do it. You'd be the ultimate grey Jedi equivalent. I don't know. Grey cleric, grey paladin. I don't fucking know. Grey warden.
Yeah.
I mean, it could just be
Fucking
neutral.
Fucking apologist.
You can be the apologist.
God, why are half of these items perfect for the fedora wearing Redditor?
I don't know. I mean, maybe because the fedora wearing Redditor isn't actually asking a whole lot.
Fucking true.
Alright. I think Unicorn Flag and Torn is a good item.
It is a good
But
item.
No,
not
it's a
for a good
bad item.
person.
It's a good evil item.
It's a good evil item.
It's a decent item. There we go.
It's
Ghost
also very
Vision...
expensive.
Wait, hold on. Ghost Vision
gloves.
Shouldn't they be lenses that go on your eyes?
No, it's because you cup your eyes when you use them. Or something.
This is fucking stupid.
They come in a staggering 4K. They're a hand slot item. You know, being gloves. Once per day as a standard action, the user can get an effect that lasts 10 rounds. Or, as some would say, a minute.
I love this item. It's like, how do you activate the ghost vision? Well, I'm gonna blind myself by just grinding fucking particulates of cloth into my eyes.
Yeah, your eyes have now
wrote
become
this?
ghosts. I don't know.
What demented person did this? Like, okay, they clearly wanted ghost vision eye things, but when there's so many items that like ranges and fucking, we need to make this vision item not go in the eyes because you know that's a highly contested slot. There's not many good gloves. Let's make it a glove slot. How do you justify that? How do you just rub your eyes really hard?
Okay.
Like the logic train, I see it. I just don't agree with it.
You rub
Okay.
your eyes until you get those flaring sparkles in them, and then you know you're seeing undead.
Okay. So, what it does in fact do is you can see undead within 60 feet, including ethereal and corporeal undead that are in walls of like a depth of 5 feet. So you can see into walls to see like undead that are just there, hiding in the wall, like scumbags they are. And you can use your channel positive energy to make a ranged touch attack against undead creatures within range. The channel will only affect that target, but deals d12s instead of d6 for the damage.
That's so good. It's like you've just become a fucking kineticist.
And the gloves blind the user to constructs and living creatures. Well, it's in use.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, it's gonna have a downside.
There's the 4K.
There's the 4K. That's how it's paying for its cost right there.
Still, just a D12 death bolt towards an undead. Fucking hell. Jack would love these. Jack would have also have loved these.
Yeah, it's like, what does it do? Yeah, you're just gonna hit them with d12s now. How many channel dice do you have? This many. Well, that's how many d12s you're shoving down their throat. Yeet.
God forbid you have that headband that gives you another 2d6. This is another 2d12s.
Yep, another 2d12.
Behold, I channel great axes.
Ah, yes.
Okay. As much
Okay.
as I roasted the shit out of this item, damn, I'm sold.
It's so stupid, but decent, passable.
The number's
Okay.
good. Clown suit acquired.
Okay. Scepter of Divine Providence. So this is a rod item.
Alright. It's plus
It'll
1 heavy
function.
mace.
It'll function as a +1 heavy mace. It'll count as a divine focus. And also as a holy or unholy symbol. Because we have to make that distinction now.
Well, hey, look, it counts as it's a weapon, a holy symbol, and a rod, which means you can start doing jank with it. You don't need to be a Torag worshipper.
It allows the user to spend up to 3 additional uses of channel energy to, like, get up to, like, a plus 30 additional feet of range on the channel. So it's kind of like the Daylight Diadem, but much more demanding on your channel energies to get that extra range.
Combine this with the thing that gives you an extra 5 feet, and you're suddenly...
Yeah, you're suddenly looking at a 65 foot of range. Because, like, the Daylight Diadem sets it at a 60, so it wouldn't stack with that other one. But this absolutely would.
Man, when you're playing Skulls and Shackles and somebody's rolled a fucking bard to buff the entire crew, and then the cleric steps out swinging their dick. Back off, peasant cleric. Channel lock!
Anyways, it costs 17,312, which is a very specific amount. It's like it's accounting for the fact that it's a +1 heavy mace or something. By having a masterwork cost in there, right?
Sure.
You know.
And it weighs 5 pounds. All in all, a very decent rod.
I mean, the fact that it is just a +1 heavy mace and it is a weapon that counts as a holy symbol, that just makes it good because of the insane amount of things that this thing can now do.
Yeah. Anyways, let's talk about channeling. And not the feature, but the shield enchantment channeling. So, as a shield enchantment, it keeps either positive or negative energy. 3 times per day, the user can increase their channel dice by +1.
Okay.
And it also gives, like, ER10 effectively versus the opposite energy type. It has a flat cost value of 18k.
A little expensive for what it does, but what it does is pretty nice.
It's a little expensive for what it does. It goes on your shield, and I mean, for all those effects that care about how many dice you're throwing.
I mean, it's also a way to stack with the
phylactery.
No, I'm thinking Deathless Armor that absorbs an amount of negative levels and negative energy.
Yeah.
Like, there's definitely a way to not give a shit about the bullshit that vampires and whatever else is throwing around. This is one of them. This is not bad. But also an additional dice in whatever you're doing.
Yeah. This is not bad. Additional dice 3 times per day. That's kind of a downside. But
true.
Then again, it's also not quite, but basically ER10. Better than ER10 though, because it technically stacked with ER10 because this will happen before the ER10 is accounted for. Ha 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 ha.
I don't think there's a protection from negative energy spell though. I don't think there's.
There is not.
Yeah, so it's like it stacks with it, but it doesn't exist.
I think Deathless does that, doesn't it? Anyways, exclusionary. Exclusionary is for weapons. It's got a flat cost of like plus 3,750, so it's significantly cheaper. And what it does is basically it allows for struck creatures to be excluded from the user's channel energy ability. It'll last for a minute, and the number that you can exclude is equal to your wisdom modifier plus your enhancement mod on your weapon.
Huh.
So what are you doing? Running around just tapping out all the fucking things in the battlefield to exclude them from your channel and resume channeling?
No, this is for the bow cleric because it does not say melee.
It does not say melee.
This is the guiding hand bow cleric.
Oh god, you're fucking right. Well, if you're using a longbow or something, they're probably well out of range of channel anyway.
I mean, you say that, but most bow fights take place within 30 feet because that's point blank range shot.
Oh god, you're right. True, actually.
Also could do it with a crossbow. Or you could go old-fashioned with, like, big armor and big mace and just beat your enemies senseless, but also have them automatically excluded from your channel so you don't even have to think about it.
If you didn't
you could
feel
be
like
doing it with a gun.
If you didn't feel like investing in selective channel, just beat them with your weapon that says no. My god doesn't like you in particular.
Classic.
This is my gatekeeping mace.
Oh boy.
Not bad. It's pretty cheap, so not bad.
It's not very expensive. Not really.
It's fucking something.
Alright, so Hero's Brew. This looks like a 3.5 potion that seems to have snuck in via Second Darkness Player's Guide. As you can see, it has an experience cost, which is no longer relevant to Pathfinder.
This is definitely a 3.5 item that someone has said is cadence.
Uh-oh. No, that's
50.
why. See, he was so drunk he forgot to take out the XP cost.
So drunk he
Classic.
stumbled into the wrong edition.
It's mostly just a potion of heroism with a little extra penalty attached to it. And additionally, if you happen to be a cleric of Caden with charm or strength domains, like you can use the domain power from those and an additional time per day during the duration of the potion. Only one additional use can be gained regardless of how many of these you chug. It costs like 1400.
Yeah, I'm gonna say 1400 GP. You probably don't want to be chugging too many of these too fucking quick. Damn.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was going to exclude it, but I'm gonna go grab it. The Channeler's Aspergillum. I'll move it back later. So, I was gonna exclude this item because it is most definitely a weapon I was gonna talk about when I got around to talking about Battle Aspergillums. A Battle Aspergillum is essentially basically a mace. It's a mace that you can fill with holy water, and normally it deals like damage to 1 extra damage to like undead or evil outsiders, and can like inflict that extra damage to incorporeal creatures even if the Battle Aspergillum itself isn't magical. This one has some additional powers when filled with holy water. You can swing it in an arc, and it creates a 30-foot like cone that can affect up to 9 creatures with Cure Light Wounds. So it's basically mass Cure Light Wounds. This will automatically expend the holy water inside of it. Additionally, if you have channel energy, you can use your Channeler's Aspergillum to increase your effective cleric level by 2 for the purpose of channel energy, which will be like extra DC and extra dice. This will also expend the holy water if you use it for this purpose. And you can fill it with holy water 3 times per day to use these abilities. It comes in at like 36,305.
Do I think that 36 grand is worth the price tag of this? No.
I think it could be.
What the fuck are you doing with Cure Light Wounds Mass?
Putting it on the fighter.
I can fucking. By the time you have Cure Light Wounds and Mass Cures, you can probably just drop a heal on him.
Yeah, but by the time you have 36k to spare.
Yeah.
Well, we're looking at a caster level 9th item, so the Cure Light Wounds will be a 1d8 plus 9 for up to 9 creatures in an arc. The fighter can use this ability. So this doesn't have to be in the cleric's hand for that purpose. But if it is in the cleric's hand, they additionally get the ability to increase their channel dice by another 1, which will stack with everything else and boosting their channel dice.
I just want to say, my guy, if you have given the cleric, if given the fighter this, and the fighter has turned around and decides he needs to do some spot healing, you've probably already lost. You are not winning. That fight is going downhill real fast.
Or maybe the fighter needed an AoE option for slapping an undead swarm or something. Isn't that a desperate fucking use?
Yeah, this item is just desperation, the item.
I think it's a pretty solid item, honestly.
I don't.
It's solid enough to smack someone in the head with.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but so is a regular Battle Aspergillum.
That is true.
True.
That's way cheaper.
True.
Yeah,
I like it. So I also have an artifact
Again.
here. The Bloodstones of Erasne. Because it's an artifact, you're probably not going to have this. But, if your DM is psychotic and lets you have this, essentially you're getting to own a piece of the Lich Queen of Geb, which will grant you an extra domain for a cleric.
Oh look, it's Aradin again.
Yeah, it's Aridin again.
Aridin, you're
Anyways.
dead. Fuck off.
Hey. Let Aridin do Aridin things. Whatever the
He's
fuck
like
that is.
He's like the good version of Miracle, who is dead but keeps showing up anyway. I ate you in Mask of the Betrayer, and he still fucking shows up.
Nice. And the piece will also grant some extra bonus abilities, such as Improved Iron Will, Greater Sunder, even just Lay on Hands as a Paladin. The traits section can be applied to any character that owns a piece. The domains are only available to clerics.
Only one of those is any good.
What? The glory? The protection?
No, the heart.
Okay, sure, but the glory domain's fine. The actual domains are pretty good. Mostly. Well, it's kind of a lame domain.
Who? Okay, there's only you here who likes Greater Sunder, because once again, we're at this point of don't banish
I don't care about Greater Sunder, I care about the domain.
Oh, it gives you a domain. Never mind. No, Glory's pretty good. My brain lost over that shit.
Okay, you derp. It gives a cleric a domain, and additionally they'll get a trait. Other characters that aren't clerics will gain the trait, but not a domain.
Yeah.
In which case, Heart is good for anybody. But most of these are good for any cleric.
Anyways, it's an artifact, so
you're probably not having it.
Unless you're very specifically fighting these Geb champions and you've just clowned him and nicked all his shit.
Become one with the Erasni?
Free
Hey,
stuff.
maybe you should try the old Vecna trick. Like replace your lung, your liver, your heart, and your spleen with these. I'm sure it'll go fine.
Alright, well, just if you get the head of Vecna, it's a trap.
Yes, you old head of Vecna. Fucking stupid. Alright, let's get on to these
First thing you
boons.
do is you cut off your head and then you replace it with yours. Oh, you just cut off your head. Well, I guess you're not doing step 2.
Yeah. So anyways, boons.
Wait, we're surely not going through every fucking boon, right?
Not every
No.
boon.
There's only
So,
okay.
boons out of context, they're not exactly the fairest thing to consider on their own. But here's some that affect specifically clerics. The Desna Exalted Tier 3 boon offers an ability that causes living creatures in the AoE of a channel to reduce the mischance they face by 10%. And they can treat 1s on damage dice as 2s. This effect will last for 1 round plus 1 additional round per 4 levels. If you can't channel, you gain 1 channel with these effects. The Glonder Exalted Tier 2 boon allows the Glonder Worshipper to change how they channel 3 times per day to mess up plant creatures and plants. It changes it to a fort save instead of a will save, which is arguably a worse choice versus plant specifically.
Wow, you get this divine boon to host something, but they swap it to a fucking strong save.
I know, right?
Thanks!
The Serenray Exalted Tier 2 boon allows you to add Exalted levels to Cleric levels for your channel energy. You know, should you want to take Exalted as a prestige class.
I mean, if you do, when you're a channels matter kind of person, that's pretty good.
Yeah. It also lets you spend 3 uses of a channel to allow individuals affected by poison or non-magical disease to attempt a new saving throw with a +2 second bonus in the effect. That second part kinda lame.
Yeah, specifying non-magic is but all the really deadly, nasty shit is a magical disease.
It is.
What the fuck? What do you mean you can't do this to get rid of Mummy Rot?
I know, right? Yeah. A lot of these aren't great. Any that are good, I'll mention. Like Sukio, I think actually might be worth mentioning. Might actually be worth talking about. The Tier 2 boon here allows for Madness Domain's Vision of Madness to be used on targets within 30 feet. I will admit that I didn't really think about the fact that Madness Domain could be used offensively to make enemies worse at important things. This will also just make that concept a lot more viable. If you forgot what Vision of Madness does, basically you take a scaling number equal to I think basically half your cleric level. You give a bonus to either attack rolls, saving throws, or skill checks, but the other 2 that you don't choose take a penalty equal to the bonus. So hypothetically, you can pick a target. Hey, they're now great at skill checks, but their attack rolls and saving throws just got dumpstered. And more importantly, this will also allow you to targets being plural, targeting 1 per 4 hit dice you have. So it becomes an AoE.
That is definitely a really nasty debuff, especially, I mean, it's how witches function. Witches just tank stats, and this is tanking stats.
If you don't happen to have the Madness domain, you get the basic version of Vision of Madness, which I guess is an okay consolation prize.
Back to the witch. You could probably definitely be playing a bad touch witch or something that can make use of that. Just use it. It's like 3 plus your wisdom modifier. It's like, hey, this is now my channel. Get mad at.
Lamau.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think Collective Vision actually not bad.
Okay, that's not bad.
Callistria Exalted is another dropping off point. The tier 2 boon assists the charm domain Daze by upgrading it to a stun. Stuns are better than dazes. Stuns will cause things to drop things, but without changing the other problems of the dazing touch power, and namely the thing has to be like on par or weaker than you hit dice wise, it's still about as useful.
Yeah.
And if you don't have charm domain, you get the dazing touch as a cleric.
And this is coming from Ashley, who is desperate for slot gods like Urgathoa and Callistria to be good.
Hey, don't say it that way.
No, I'm going to say it that way.
Oh, how do we feel about these items?
Some of them pretty good.
I like the brick. I like
The brick's a
headband.
brick.
The ring is bad, and clerics apparently like wearing boxes on their heads.
Lots of boxes.
And it's not even big enough to put the brick in. What's the fucking point of this, right?
You know.
Lamau.
I'm still picturing that I can't even remember what it is, but the mannequin thing that you can channel through and just having your arcane caster bring it to life so that it can run around being a channel bomb.
The malleable statue. Yeah.
Yeah, that thing. Could be funny, especially if you actually like armored it up or managed to upscale it so it actually had hit points worthwhile, or gave it additional hardness or hit points as an animated object.
Well, okay, consider the following. You've got this crafting process for this thing. Nothing's actually stopping you making it bigger and harder. Like, you could literally make an adamantine golem with this in it. Like,
I don't know why, but I'm picturing a small golem inside of a larger golem, and it's just a disco bot. I'm looking at Disco Nunu.
Dude, we're back to the fucking Demi-Lich hiding inside the Iron Golem, or controlling it. God.
Okay.
Closing thoughts. Oh god. Cleric. I'm free.
No, we're finally fucking free.
We're finally free. And we can stop talking about Cleric.
Well, if you like what we do, consider leaving a like, possibly consider subscribing, consider leaving a comment. Maybe tell us about some of your own Cleric experiences after all these videos on Cleric.
Please tell us that you got some valuable insight about something you can do with a Cleric out of this video, because it's something like 14 hours of Cleric content.
Isn't that glorious?
Don't worry. We'll be coming in with other long classes next.
Woohoo!
Man, I'm starting to see what 5e babies say. Oh, Pathfinder, they had such content bloat, and it's like, well, now I've got to talk about it all. I agree. But it's still better than having a non-existent system saying, homebrew everything. By the way, we're selling Power Creep like Magic the Gathering. Fuck.
That statement fills me with such sadness.
I don't. It's like, yes, this is the fucking curse. Greedy bastards. Thanks, Hasbro. You ruined a good thing.
Alright. Let's go ahead and say goodbye to the video. Bye, guys!
No.